Have I ever told you about the time I went to the dentist and asked him to pull all of my teeth? Well, I'm going to tell you now. It's kind of a long story, but it might help you or somebody else that has went through something similar. It all started about 2 years before I went to the dentist and asked him to pull out all of my teeth. And it started where I was in the shower and I had this electrical shock that ran down my face when my face was under the water. And it happened a number of times that day. So I went to the doctor the next day, thinking that this is bizarre. And at that time, he said that he was going to book me an appointment. He would come on back in a week. You know how that is. But so I came back for about 3 weeks in a row. Nothing had, kept on saying, come back in a week, come back in a week. It's the way the doctors are here in Canada, kind of useless. So anyways, when I finally did come back, he said, okay, well, I'll make you an appointment with a neurologist. Actually, I think he made me come back about 3 months in a row. I was foolish not to work on it a little faster. But it was intermittent. It wasn't that bad. It was every now and then. And I allowed myself to be lulled by my doctor, who truly, I don't believe very many of these here in Canada are well educated. So anyways, he ended up diagnosing me with trigeminal nerve damage. It's a nerve damage that happens around your ear, and then the nerve comes and it goes around the top of your eye, around the bottom of your eye. And so this is what he was thinking it was, and he figured that that maybe it was caused by shingles. But I had no rash. But, by this time, by the time he came out with an idea of what it possibly was, and I still hadn't went to a neurologist, anything that would have been for shingles, which was an antiviral, would not work now. Because you have to actually use it within a few weeks of contacting the virus. So I was put on that. Of course, it didn't work, and it was progressively getting worse and worse. So the next thing that ended up happening was I ended up having half my face was paralyzed on the side that I had this excruciating pain, and I'm telling you, it's like 10 times worse than a toothache when it hits and it vibrates for minutes. I was using needles like pressure to try to block off the pain, stop the nerve at a certain level so it wouldn't just cascade all the way through. It actually worked. It was very successful for a while. So anyways, so I ended up in the hospital at this time, and they did, because they thought that maybe I was having a stroke. So luckily at this time I did get an MRI and a full workup, and they still couldn't find what it was. But that doctor gave me a medication that did help, and it was for calming the nerves. It actually stopped the nerves from vibrating so much. Didn't take away all the pain, but it helped for a while. And with that, but it still stopped. It stopped helping. So the next thing that happened, and I'm like back at the doctor, and the doctor is really doing nothing. I'm still not seeing that neurologist to see what we could do next. I'm just having symptoms. So then that eye, where the nerve was bundled around, I ended up losing almost all my sight in it. I just got all these black dots all over, and I was really only seeing through my other eye. And I went and got all the tests I could get done. Like by this time, I'm feeling like I'm in so much agony, and I'm feeling like that everybody's treating me like I'm just neurotic instead of actually having something. I remember 2 times going into my doctor's office, sitting on the doctor's bench and crying just because I couldn't hold it back. I was in so much pain. So there was nothing. She sent back, and they did another viral not a thing. I still hadn't seen a neurologist at this time, and she couldn't find anything with my eyes, although I was experiencing what I was experiencing. So I finally got to the point after I went to the eye doctor and nothing again. I went to my dentist and I said, I don't know what it is. There's some nerve damage that's happening. Maybe it is a tooth. I don't know why, to be honest, why I waited so long to go to the dentist for something like this. But actually, I think it's providence, because in the time that if I would have went, this is 2 years later, because I've been struggling with this for 2 years, he probably wouldn't have known what he saw when he saw me, because he had 2 patients in that period of time that taught him what it was, and he did some research. And so by the time that I walked into his dentist's office, telling him that it was okay, he could pull all my teeth out of my face. He did all of the x-rays and he saw, but he comes to me and he says, Karen, you're not suffering from trigeminal nerve damage or from shingles. You're suffering from a severe fungal sinus infection. He says, I have seen 2 people recently in the last couple of years that have, and then they've reported back to me after they went to see a new ears, nose, and throat specialist. And, when they've had to, he was saying that they have to go in and do surgery and pull it out because it actually becomes a ball. And it didn't sound pleasant, but it was an avenue for me to look into because I was desperate. So he says, go back to your doctor, make an appointment, get your doctor to make an appointment immediately for this, and tell him that I told him to. So I went and just walked into the doctor's office and luckily was able to get him and told him what the dentist said. And the dentist told me the doctor told me the dentist was full of crap, that there was only one type of fungal infection that you can get in the sinuses. And if I had it, I already would have been dead from the 2 years that I had been suffering from this. So anyways, I'm like, oh, okay, well, it's only one kind. Okay, maybe, I don't know. So I went home because my dentist told me this, and I knew he's a smart guy. He's not an idiot. And if he told me that he looked up this and he did some research on it, I know he did. So I knew I could find his what he found. And he gave me a couple of leads. So I started looking, and sure enough, there was 5 type of sinus fungal infections that you can get, and only one is fatal. The rest of them are easily treated. But the problem is with that, prior to that, for 10 years prior to that, I had been suffering from sinus infections and been treated I've been treated on an average of 10 times a year, just to do the calculations, on 10-day doses of antibiotics. And what I found out when I was reading this, that antibiotics will not kill yeast, but it will kill everything else. It will suppress the yeast while you're taking it. But as soon as you stop taking it, that's why I would get repeatedly sick within 3 weeks. And I would be back on antibiotics within 6, because it just suppressed it until the antibiotics stopped, and then it had nothing to resist it. So the fungus grows rapidly. And that's what I was suffering from. So anyways, the doctor wouldn't give me anything. He just made an appointment. The appointment was 3 months. I was lucky to get something, but in the meantime, I'm not willing to wait. So I start looking at, well, what's natural cures that I can do? Because he didn't want to do anything for me. It's like because of my age, I don't matter anymore. I don't know, but he really didn't want to do anything for me. And I was very ill during this time too. My blood pressure, I couldn't get it under control. I was so ill. I was ill all the time. It just, I never went without a headache, and feeling like sometimes walking across, the house was too much. I would be out of breath, and I had severe asthma. And that was bothering me all the time. So anyways, and I had been treated with antibiotics, and no stop on that. They would just try to increase. I mean, I must have antibiotic resistance by now because I've had so many through the years. So one of the things, I guess I have to get down to the conclusion, one of the things that I did find that works, and it's supposed to work really quick, is Kaleido Silver. And it just happens to be that I had a Kaleido Silver maker because I had been using it for other things. It's great disinfectant, and, look it up, Kaleido Silver. You can get it at health food stores. So I made it into a sinus spray, took a sinus bottle and put the Kaleido Silver in there, add a little bit of salt, and did the recommended of what they said. Do it twice a day. So I did this, and within 2 weeks, the pain was half. Within 3 months, I was pain-free. And within 6 months, I was using it still in my sinuses. I was putting it in my ears too, and I had pus coming out of that one side of that eye too. So I was using it in the eye. It's safe. It's an absolutely safe product. And I was also using other things. I was using MMS. I can't really get into that because I got a video taken down because of that. And I was using coconut oil for gargoyle. You know what I'm saying? And to rinse with, because it's really good. It's an antibacterial as well. It will get rid of that. And so anyway, so my asthma went away. I have not been on antibiotics, not once, in 2 years. I still have to seem to, for whatever it is, I guess I still have allergies and stuff. So I still get a tendency of starting up an infection every now and then. But my regimen that I do now gets rid of it. It's all natural. It cannot harm you. It doesn't ruin your system. And I've not had an aspirin in 2 years. I've not had a Tylenol. Oh, I'm sorry. I have had an aspirin, but it was for different reasons. But I'm basically prescription free because of that one thing. And my life has turned around when it comes to my allergies and just what I can do. Well, anyways, that's what I wanted to tell you guys about the time that I went to my dentist and said, pull all my teeth. Like I said, I was supposed to wait out that time. So maybe I could tell you guys, because maybe I'm going to help somebody else, or somebody else who's suffering from chronic sinus infections. Since then, I have helped many family members that have been having chronic sinus infections with just, even if they didn't have it to the severity that mine was, but just having, because mine was, I had that chronic sinus infection for 10 years that never really went away, which was really, and all the research that I did, the research is all pointing that all sinus infections are fungal infections. So if you got somebody who's got a chronic fungal infection, tell them about this, give them this, share this with them, because it may be the difference between them suffering and having a life that's better. Like you can buy, I'll put a link to the one that the one where I make it, my Kaleido Silver. It cost me Canadian $120. I think American, it was like $65. Like it was a few years ago when I bought it, so I don't know what the prices are now. But that comes with 2 sticks of silver, and the silver is only like $20 or $30. But I've had those 2 sticks for like 3 years now, and I haven't had to replace them. But I am going to order a new set soon because I want to not be stuck without it, because it's an amazing, and you can do it. You have to. Well, anyways. Look it up. I'll put the link there. So if you do suffer from that, or somebody else who's suffering from that kind of stuff. And he was saying that the reason why this happens, and this was what I found in my research, I live out in the country here, and it's sort of like a fungus that grows in the wheat and stuff when it's too moist. So if you're out in the field and stuff, well, I mean, I'm always outside walking and going through fields with my dog. So I mean, that just makes sense. That would be a possibility for me. Anyways, I'll let you guys go. My time is running out here. Live in love and light. Talk to you later.